just to say something about what Dr. Folefaka said, you see, we've got to look inward sometimes. And one of the most painful things about Africa, you will remember that the year 2020 was declared the year of the silencing of the guns,
yes,
by the African Union. And the intention at that time was that if Africa was going to realize the gains that she's promised herself in Africa Agenda 2063, then you needed peace for sustainable economic, political, and cultural development. They also took the view that if the Africa Continental Free Trade Area was to work effectively, you needed peace. And those who know then mapped the conflicts that needed to be resolved. They included the conflict in Ambazonia. They included dealing with Boko Haram in the entire Sahelian region. It became necessary, they said, to deal with Darfur and Southern Sudan and northern Mozambique and eastern Congo. But beyond the pronouncement, there was no deliberate effort on the part of the African Union or individual African leaders to actually come out. Because one would have thought that a conflict such as in Ambazonia is one that should be flagged, and that leaders, even within ECOWAS, would say, in the manner that we now see them responding to the coup d'etats. You've seen how they have responded to the coup d'etat in Guinea-Conakry. They have responded to the coup d'etat in Chad, in Burkina Faso, in Guinea-Bissau. And yet, in a situation such as Ambazonia, where refugees are being generated, people are being killed, and there is talk of genocide, nobody talks about it. And that is true of what is happening in the Democratic Republic of Congo. And from where I sit, the reason is because conflict is an industry. It is an industry that feeds the European military machine, because they are the ones who supply the arms, they are the ones who supply the related hardware, and in such situations, they also offload their food, whether it is corn or whatever it is that they do. There is no shortage of their experts who now operate in those areas. And knowing that as we do, can we afford the luxury of remaining in a perpetual complaining mode as Africans? Isn't there anything that we can do? Dr. Folefak and you, Dr. Susan, are aware that we have now initiated a kind of a signature. We want to do a petition. And when we talk about a petition about the conflict in Ambazonia and other African conflicts, we are simply saying that we want to marshal Africans of goodwill to demonstrate, not by word, but by deed also, that we have a concern and that we must prick the conscience of these individuals who are in positions of authority so that the AU can rise up. This year, they have said, is the year of agriculture and nutrition-related things. If there is conflict, who is going to the farms? Right now, as I speak to you, in many areas in Africa, nobody can go to the farms. They are not farming in Tigray. They are not doing so in southern Sudan. They are not doing so in most of the Sahelian. So it is incumbent upon Africans, those in the mother continent and those in the diaspora, to now make demands of the political class that something must be done. And you can see Europe is always ahead of the game, and the Chinese are ahead of the game. Right now, they're already funding African initiatives. You may know that the British government has now offered 35 million to the Africa Continental Free Trade Area. And the idea is that they want to control, African institutions. You saw what the French did with the proposed eco-currency in West Africa, and they are training our armies. And these are some of the things that we who have the opportunity to have a conversation such as this have the obligation to flag. We know that we can do it. We know that attempts will be made to disrupt us. But yet I believe that if our voices are united and if our voices are clear and persistent, then the world will begin to listen to us. And some of the ways in which we will do it is to begin lobbying the regional bodies. If there is a conflict in the ECOWAS region, we do petitions for whatever they are worth. If there are institutions of an international nature, we mount cases. If the conflict is in SADC, in the Maghreb, in Central Africa, and we go to the African Union, which is, as you know, largely a toothless bulldog, we go to the Security Council, we must make demands in the knowledge that this is a relay race. We may not get the things that we want now, but we must hand over the baton to succeeding generations by clearly defining what our concerns are and articulating them, and being aware that we don't have friends out there. Those we think are friends are actually our enemies, and they pretend to help us, but the humanitarian organizations that they bring to our countries, most of them are not designed to help us in the long run. They are designed to perpetuate these conflicts so that they can retain their jobs and keep us on a short leash.